today. My name is Veronica Gonzalez. I'm one of the counselors here, and I have my coworker.
Hi, everyone. My name is Miss Seja, and I'm also another counselor at our school.
So today we're going to be having the honor of talking about scholar opportunities and some of the opportunities that your son or daughter can take advantage of, whether it be summer options, scholarships, or extracurricular activities. And so we're going to be covering a little bit of all those areas. And of course, due to this pandemic, some of these areas have been difficult to be able to do or accomplish. So one of the things that we want to make sure that we reiterate is, again, college application. I know that we emphasize helping your son or daughter apply for the university. And one of the things that we want to emphasize is, what does a college look for? What do they want in an applicant when your son or daughter is applying their senior year? So the first thing is completion of the A through G courses. They must finish their A through G courses. And those are the classes that we offer at environmental science. Okay. The other one is their GPA, their grade point average. They really care about the kind of grades that they get in these classes. What is their overall GPA? And the other thing that they look for that has nothing to do with their academics is their involvement, extracurricular activities, and their personal statement. They really want to know what kind of person they are, what do they do inside or outside of school, and their writing. That's going to be a critical point when they look at colleges. So what are the A through G or college prep courses that colleges are looking for? So one is credit remediation, summer school. So a student, in order to be able to get their classes that they need or make up credits, a child, if they fail the course, will be able to go to summer school and be able to recover or take certain classes because it's needed for graduation. For example, history, English, and math. Okay, throughout high school, they need to make sure that they're passing the core A through G courses in order to be able to graduate on time and get enough credits. In order for them to attend summer school, we usually invite them. And the reason why we usually invite them is because we have to determine what is available at our campus to be able to offer them. We don't offer all the courses like big schools do. We sometimes are very limited in the teachers that were able to teach summer school or are not volunteer, but wanted to teach summer school and signed up for that. Or sometimes it just varies what we can offer online for these students. So again, it depends on the need on that academic year, what courses are mainly needed. When a student receives a D from any other school that they come from or an NP here at our school, they must repeat the course, whether it be in summer school, and they need to obtain a C or better. When they do that, the new grade will be used for the GPA calculations. For example, if a student failed Math 1A and they came to summer school and got a C or better, now the new grade, that C or better, will be calculated in their college GPA and high school GPA. If a student passing a course a student fails is allowing the student to complete graduation requirements and obtain their credits. When a student obtains an MP or a fail, they get 0 credits. So that's why it's needed that they need to come to summer school in order to obtain their 5 credits for each semester of a course. Why is this important? Some students that have a D or an MP say, well, I don't need to make it up. I don't need that. Or it's not important. Well, one, it is. We need it for graduation requirements. 2, it's their second chance to improve their GPA. It will increase it. Like we said, if you make up the MP does not get erased from the transcript, but it now the new grade gets calculated into their GPA. And colleges will consider the better grade rather than the MP. And that's important, especially if the student is trying to show or demonstrate to the university that they are improving and they're going in an upward motion instead of a decline. It also demonstrates academic improvement, and it allows the student to complete high school graduations requirements. Any questions here?
If I can chime
Go
in
ahead.
real quick. Yeah. So I want to make sure, I know that Ms. Gonzalez said, I want to make sure that we emphasize the reason why we put this slide here. And it's because first and foremost, we want to ensure that the student is on track to graduate. And so ideally, we would like for this not to be how students are spending their summer, that they can actually spend their summer doing some of the other opportunities that we're going to talk about later. But if they have failed a graduation requirement, then this takes precedence. We want them to first work on getting themselves on track to graduate before they start looking at other opportunities, right? Because the point is to get them to be competitive for college, but they can't even be competitive for college if they're not eligible to graduate. And so one of the things I also wanted to mention was that students can eliminate having to attend summer school based on the new grading policy that we have in place this year because of the pandemic. As a lot of you may already know, if a student failed a class last semester and they pass this semester with a C or better, they will get a grade change for last semester. So if, let's say, your child failed English 10A, but now this semester they passed the class, we will change the grade from first semester and they'll earn credit. So that really would be what Ms. Gonzalez and I would advise, that your child, if possible, try and pass their classes this semester to be able to not have to do summer school at all. Some of your children may owe us classes from previous years, so we may still have to invite them to summer school if they haven't. Okay, so we listed this as a summer opportunity because some of your children may need to do this, and it's okay if they do, but if they can avoid it, even better, because they can engage in some of the other activities that we'll be talking about.
And that's critical. There's still an opportunity for them to make up their credits, especially if they failed anything this academic year. So spring semester, it's very critical for them to try to pass. And again, I don't want to emphasize a C, but even with just a C minus, that will allow them to recuperate their fall semester. Any questions?
I have a question. I have that she stated that for the last semester, that the grade could be changed from fail to a B if they pass this semester. Is the same opposite if they did better last semester than this semester?
Yes. If they get a better grade this semester, for example, say English 9B, they get a B this semester in the spring, but they got a C last semester, their grade will be changed to a B, to the better grade. So yes, that is correct also. If they get a better grade, that's another way they can raise their GPA as well.
And if I can add to that, because sometimes parents will have this question, and in students too, this is really an amazing opportunity because they would not otherwise be able to do this. We've had students who will sometimes ask us, like, let me take that English 9 example. They passed the class with a C and they know the C isn't really helping their GPA. And now they're like, well, can I retake the class in the summer and earn a B or an A? And unfortunately, that is not an option. Colleges specifically state that they will take the first passing grade. So in a normal year, a student would not be able to retake a class they've already passed to earn a higher grade. But right now, because of the way the grading policy is written, that is the opportunity they have. They're technically not retaking it, but they do have an opportunity to earn a higher grade than what they originally did. So I wanted to emphasize that point because it's something that you usually cannot do otherwise.
Thank you. Any other questions? Somebody else had a question?
Yes, I do. Would that apply to all the grades? Because my kid is a 9th grader. So all the things that you're saying, would that apply to him too?
It applies to all grade levels, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th for this academic year only. It applies for this academic year. So it's for all students. This applies for every student for this year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. So this is a sample transcript that we have here. So I think, Maria, if you like to do this one, that would be great.
Yeah, perfect. I'll tell you when to click for the
Mm-hmm.
motions. But so one of the things we want to make sure that parents are aware of, and we have this presentation, we've had it already actually with all the grade levels, and we showed them the same transcript, is how their grades really follow them throughout high school. They have a high school transcript. As soon as they're ninth graders and they finish first semester, we add the courses that they took and the grades that they earned. And every semester that they earn new grades, we keep adding them to this same document that keeps a record of all of their courses, grades, credits, GPA, etc. It's updated every semester. And eventually, when the student applies to college, we send this document to the colleges that they've applied to as part of their application materials. If a student were to be like, let's say your child is not, you enroll them in a new school, the same would happen. We would send this transcript, and then that new school would have a record of their academic grades. And the same is true when they come to us from another school. So really, these grades follow them wherever they are until they finish high school, right? Once they start college, they start fresh, they get to earn new grades. So we wanted to make sure that you see what this looks like, what the document looks like in case you've never seen it before, and explain the different parts. And this will really help you also visualize the last slide that we talked about when we were saying, if a student makes up a class, the GPA is recalculated or they earn credits, like you'll be able to visually see it from here. So go ahead, Ms. Gonzalez, if you would please click for me. So the first thing, and I know it's kind of small, that the transcript, that I want to point out on the transcript is that it has the graduation credit requirement. So it says at the very bottom that students must accumulate 230 credits by the end of senior year in order to be eligible to graduate. And so we're going to show you where those credits come from. Go ahead, Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you. So in this example, the student took PE, okay, and they passed first semester with a B minus. Go ahead and click, Ms. Gonzalez. So because they passed with a C minus or better, they earned 5 credits. One thing I want to emphasize is that the number of credits do not change based on their grade. Okay, if they pass with an A or they pass with a C, they still earn the same amount of credits. When we're talking about GPA, that's different. The grade does matter, but for credit purposes, as long as they pass with a C minus or better, they're going to get those 5 credits. Now, when a student fails a class, in this example, the student failed psychology, which is a class that we used to offer in the past. So go ahead, Mrs. Gonzalez. You'll see that the student earned 0 credits for having earned an NP, okay? Now, in this other example, the student failed English 9B, but then go ahead, Ms. Gonzalez. In summer school, they retook the course and now they earned an A. So now the student has the 5 credits. But before the summer, there was a 0, but now that the student has made up the class, now they earned those 5 credits that they were missing. So this is what we were talking about earlier, where if your child has failed a class, we really want them to come, ideally, if it's possible, that they make it up that summer right after the school year has ended. And one of the other things that we didn't mention, and it's really critical, is that we're also limited into how many classes a student can potentially remediate in one summer. Unfortunately, we have some students that fail 3 or 4 classes in one school year, and we are just unable to offer them all of those classes in one summer. Most of the time, they can only make up 2 semesters of something. So if your child has multiple fails, they can fall behind even if they're coming to summer school. Now, the other thing that's listed on the transcript is the GPA. Our transcript shows 2 different GPAs, a simple GPA and a weighted. So as some of you may know, when your child takes AP or honor classes, they earn a additional honor point towards their GPA. So if an A in a regular class is worth 4 points, an A in an AP class is worth 5. So If this student had taken AP or honor classes, which they didn't, their GPAs would be different. The simple does not include the honor points, so that one usually is lower. And then the weighted GPA includes the AP and honor points, and that one is higher. Go ahead, Mrs. Gonzalez, one more time. And then the other thing that the transcript points out is the class rank. So meaning compared to all their peers in their same grade level, where do they stand? This is how in senior year, we get to determine who the valedictorian is and who the salutatorian is. It's like the student with the highest GPA in the entire 11th grade class is listed as number 1, and then number 2, and so forth as the GPAs start dropping. Colleges, particularly the private schools, will look at their class rank, and so that's something that appears on the transcript. I think that's it. Do you guys have any questions about the transcript or any of the credit remediation things that we went over so far? No? Okay.
Okay, so what are other things that a student can do to help them out academically in order to increase their GPA? And one of the things that they can do is taking community college courses. Students can earn college credit simultaneously while in high school. And the good thing about this is the classes for high school students at a community college are free. They can take them on their own if they like to enroll in any community college, like LECC, SMC. A lot of community colleges are offering them online, virtually, or on site at a specific high school. We partner up with LACC, Los Angeles City College, and we tend to offer community college courses every semester, whether it be fall, spring, and summer. So every semester we at least offer one course, one in the fall, one in the spring, and we usually offer two courses in the summer so students can take advantage of it. Students can enroll in any kind of course that is transferable to a Cal State or a UC. That's why they get college credit, and it is counted on their college GPA, and it increases their GPA and their competitiveness. Why is this important? Students must be ready and committed. One of the things that we have noticed about community college courses is that the students need to take this very seriously. Even though we offer it on our campus, we do not control the professor. They're not our teachers. We do not pay the teacher. So we cannot control what the professor requires from the student. Yes, they know that high school students are taking the class and they're conscious of that and they recognize that. But at the same time, it is a college level course. So the student has to be committed and prepared to come in taking a very higher level than AP course, almost similar to an AP or even higher than that. So they have to be prepared to do the work. They can't be just not attending class and not speaking to the professor. They have to learn and engage with the professor and inform the professor when they're not going to class, or they cannot miss an assignment without just not telling the teacher. Like if they need an extension, they need to communicate with professor. The grade at a college course truly matters. I don't know how Ms. Seja and I can emphasize this. A fail at a community college is detrimental in my view, because you're telling the college or the university that I cannot handle a college level course. So if the student does fail a college level course, we might recommend, depending on the student, that they repeat that class, because again, we want to get rid of that F for them to make up the course if it's at all possible. If not, we need the student to drop the class immediately. But even then, that doesn't look very well with the university because you had to drop a college course. And on your transcript, it will have a W, meaning withdrawal. That in itself is also not good. Okay. A college course, how does it help your son or daughter? It's considered like an AP class. So it gets an extra point in the GPA. If the student gets an A, if student gets a B, it shows up as a B, but it's going to be considered as an A in the pointage system. Okay? It really does help the university look at the student competitively in an academic kind of sense. And for some students who are wise about it and can handle a lot of community college courses, It almost saves them a year at the university. Economically, you are saving a lot of money because a lot of these courses are free for the students and you don't have to pay it at a private university or a public that might cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 for this given course. Any questions?
Ms. Gonzalez, if I can add one other point, but I'm sorry, did someone have a question?
I don't think so.
No, okay. I wanted, and this is going to be just like Ms. Gonzalez said, I don't know how much we can emphasize the part of them having to pass, but one thing I want to know, and this is also why we emphasize it, is because so remember when I was talking about the transcript, I said that when your child goes to college, they start from scratch and all their high school grades are like erased basically, right? But let's say that your child took a community college course in high school and they failed or they got a D. And then after high school, they attend a community college. Okay, so they go and they enroll at LACC or they go to ELAC. That record of that class that they took in high school is going to show up on their college transcript already. So when they pull a transcript, it's like, oh, guess what? This class that you took when you were in 10th grade is showing up on your college transcript already because we already have a record of you. So that is the only time when an F or a D can follow the student is if they end up attending a community college within the district, and that grade is going to show up on their transcript. Okay, so that's one other point we want to emphasize as to why it's so important that they take the class seriously. And like Ms. Gonzalez said, sometimes we'll recommend they retake it just so that, you know, it doesn't stay on their record after high school.
And another thing that I know that parents worry that we say this or we're like, okay, well then why should they take it? If a student gets a C, B, or A, okay, they pass the class and that does help their GPA. But if the student keeps on giving too many C's in college classes, that also is not very helpful because then what are you telling the university? Are you barely passing the class? Can you handle the course load? Are you able to balance and manage your time? That's also very critical, is that when a student keeps on getting C's in these community college classes, that also does not look good on a transcript. And I know that's not fair. You're like, well, that's a harder class. We understand that. But I prefer a B over a C in a community college class because again, like I was saying, you're starting your GPA now at a college level. And so that's why it's very critical that the student, if they're going to take this class, and I know we're focusing on this a lot, it has to be committed. They have to find the time for this class. If it's once a week, they have to learn to space themselves and do the reading, 30 to 40 pages, the essays that they have to write. They have to learn to space themselves out. And that's why usually a freshman, we tend to tell them maybe wait until the summer when you have more time and you can handle it better. You give yourself that way of getting used to this level of preparation. And that's why we encourage a lot of students to maybe summers tend to be a lot easier for them.
And Ms. Gonzalez, you mentioned something really good that I want to make sure, because like I get you. We don't want to scare parents from having their kids take this class, but we want to be very honest with you guys. Remember what Ms. Gonzalez said, students can drop a class, right? So sometimes I'll also tell students, try the class out, but they have to be super organized with like deadlines, right? It's like if it's a summer session, the class goes by faster. So I think Ms. Gonzalez, maybe they have to drop it by like the second session, right?
Yes.
But during the regular semester, they can try it out for 2, maybe 3 sessions. And then if they feel like it's not right for them, they can drop the class, which as some of you may know, isn't really what happens in high school. Like kids can't really drop classes just because it's hard. But with college, you can. So, you know, if your child is unsure, but you know that they're responsible and then they want to challenge themselves, encourage them, take the class. But if you feel it's too hard, you can drop it. Just make sure you know when the deadline is or you are communicating with your counselor. So don't freak out about this, but it is a great opportunity. Like we said, we just want to make sure that you and your child understand the commitment that they're making and that it's not exactly the same as our high school courses, but it comes with so many benefits. that it's really worth it. Benefits throughout high school because it helps their high school GPA. But then, like Ms. Gonzalez said, they earn college credit, so they might not even have to take this class in college anymore. So it's really, really worth it, but they have to commit. Right? Thank you.
Any
I
questions?
have a quick question.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if it's regarding what you guys are talking about. How do I know when my kid is ready to take college courses? Because right now he's a ninth grader, and most of the time he's always scared of new challenges. And I always have to push him to do new stuff. So my concern is if he most of the time he tells me, I'm not ready for the college course. So what can I do about it? Would you guys be able to talk to him about it to see what is strong thing in school, reading math or reading? Reading, you guys would recommend him what classes to take in case he has the time to do it?
So one of the things we can recommend if they're a freshman or a sophomore and they're saying I'm not ready for college classes or I'm not ready for community college classes, one time what we tell students is maybe each year you can increase the load or the rigor of your course load. For example, maybe if they're in ninth grade and they're taking no AP classes or no honors classes, in 10th grade, maybe they can try one only in the subject area that they like. And that could be a way that you can find out, can they handle a college level or a more rigorous class that requires them to learn to manage their time. And that could be one way. They don't have to do it every year, a community college class. They might not like the classes that we're offering, and that's okay. We prefer that. I mean, I prefer a student to say, I like this class, I want to be here, because then I know they're going to give me 100%, rather than I was forced to take the class and now I'm miserable and I'm going to fail that class. That's not what I want the student. The student really has to want to be there as well. And that really is the first thing. Like anything, we want the student to be there. But academically, we can challenge the student not with a community college course, but maybe with an honors class. Start taking one of the classes here with us so we can start teaching you how to manage your time.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear everything because I got cut off. But are you guys recording this meeting?
Yes, we are recording, so you'll definitely be able to hear the full response later.
Yeah, because I got cut off. My internet is not that good, so that's why.
Yeah,
But
no
thank
worries.
you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Extracurricular activities. So one of the things that colleges look for, we did academics, community college classes, if you like, to make them more competitive, but they want to see what else can a student bring to my campus? What kind of student are they? So students are encouraged to get involved. For example, when we are back on school, they can join a sport. We have some clubs. They can do community service or do some summer programs or internships that shows their different qualities, their different personalities, their diversity that they bring to the campus. And that's critical in their application. What can they do now? Well, there's some programs that we have right now. For example, we have Step Up. We have the Saturday Business Academy that's for juniors, and they also for seniors. There's a college match program that usually is in junior year in the fall. Students are nominated, and there are nominated. They go through an interview and an application to see if they can participate in this program that guides them their junior and senior year to apply to a wide range of colleges in state and out of state. But the key is that they want students who are willing to go out of state, and they look for students with a 3.8 GPA or higher. So again, GPA is mattering here. We have also this other program called LA Minds Matter that recruits student freshman year and with the 3.0 unweighted GPA. So a lot of students got this information if they have a 3.0 in ninth grade at the end of the fall. And so they can apply for this program. And this program is amazing. It goes all through high school and even after high school, helping them with their college experience. And we have other clubs virtually that were created this year due to the pandemic. And some of those clubs are some of the sports that we have, because some parents were asking about sports. We have volleyball for men and women, co-ed. We have varsity basketball, men and women, soccer, men and women, varsity baseball, varsity softball, and cross country is co-ed. So these are the sports that students will be able to join once we go back to campus. But virtually, we have several opportunities that our site created, and teachers were willing to volunteer and participate for this. So some of the clubs that teachers was Cheer Club, Taxes and Financial Planning, Green Committee, Scholarships, Spanish Club, Dungeons and Dragons. Mr. King does that one. Gaming Club, if their students are into the playing games or video games. And this is really good because this is actually becoming a competition. There's a lot of universities that are doing this now. Anime, Book Club, Stoked is when we go back to campus. It is an outdoor experience. You go hiking for 3 or 4 days and stuff. And then we have computer science as well. Any questions? And why is this important? It's because it shows student, are they a member? Can they manage their time? And it shows their interest. That's what the university is looking for. What kind of person is coming to my campus other than just studying? And the reason why this is important is everybody that applies has studied very hard. Everybody has the good grades, or everybody has shown improvement somehow and now has a good grade. So the critical part is, what else do you bring to my campus? Who are you? Why should I provide maybe financial aid to you to be on my campus? And you're demonstrating whether you're a member, you make a difference at your school, you do something in your community, but you give me the good grades and can do all of this other stuff. And that's amazing. That's what we want. Okay.
I have a question. So
Uh-huh.
all these clubs help him on the application when he applies to any college he would like to go?
If they're participating in them, they don't just put them down. They have to, like, somebody has to be able to vouch for them that they're participating in these clubs.
Okay. Well, actually, my kid is in 3 clubs. It's the animated, it's the coding class, and that's the other one. I think gaming club. So he's
Great.
going there. I mean, all the days he has to go. But I think one of the 2 clubs they got like suspended because of the change of schedule. But he's still
Oh.
going there. You know.
So one of the things that I recommend is that he keep record of him attending these clubs, and he can start doing that based on his college toolkit folder that he has. He has a folder that the Alliance created for him, and he can start keeping track of all the clubs, how many hours he's done in it, and how many weeks. We really want students to start keeping track of all that, and it's very important.
That's who does that. He has to do it, or the office does that.
No, he should start keeping track of that.
So how can he get that kind of type of folder? Because I didn't know that.
The folder was emailed to all the students in the Alliance. It's called College Toolkit.
College.
And in the college toolkit, they have what we call a brag sheet, where he can start documenting all the clubs that he's participated in. So it's like a way of him keeping track. Because what happens is, Maria and I can tell you, Miss Ceja and I can tell you, is they get senior year and we ask them, what have you done all these 4 years? And they start thinking, oh, I think I did this. And then I say, okay, how many weeks per year? I don't know. How many hours per week? I don't know. And the reason being that I say the student needs to keep track is because teachers come and go. And so the student needs to be able to keep track of that. Do we have an attendance? Yeah, we can go back and look at it, but the students should know this already. Okay. I mean, documents get lost and I don't want that to happen. The students should know. We can definitely verify it, but we want the student to be responsible for that.
Okay, so you're telling me that he has to keep a, like a record of what he's doing. So even though you guys don't have it too, he just have to make sure that he knows what he have done for the 4 years between high school, right?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and take this one, Ms. Gonzalez. So community service, for those of you who have been with us for a few years, you'll know that was something that was required for students to complete in order to graduate. Now, because of the pandemic, places to do community service were very limited, if any. And so we've also made an adjustment and are not requiring that right now for graduation purposes. That said, we would always tell students, you shouldn't just be doing community service to graduate or to get your community service hours for our school, but really because it's an opportunity for you to also learn about yourself. We always really encourage students, whenever they pick an extracurricular activity, whether that be a community college course, a club, or a community service, that they're thinking about, what are my interests? And does this tie to what I'm thinking about majoring in college if I already know? So that it's not just about it getting involved in like 10 different random things, but something that really speaks to them. And more than likely, they'll be more committed to it. So with community service, this is important for that college application. And Ms. Gonzalez already talked about why they look at this information. So right now, we recognize that the opportunities are still quite limited, and more than likely your child is not doing community service, and that's okay. But as things start reopening, we listed some ideas for you all. Common things are students volunteering at animal shelters, or they're at the hospital, like at the LA County Hospital. They had a program specifically for high school students. Students can also volunteer at the museums, at the zoo. We've had actually a couple students that have volunteered at the zoo, and it's really, really an amazing program at the LA Zoo. If your child is in 10th grade, that's when they can start applying for that program. It is selective, but if they get in, they're really going to enjoy it, especially if they're into nature, or they're thinking about majoring like in environmental science. It's really an amazing program. Doing things like beach cleanups, cleaning the LA River. I mean, these are all things that we were doing on campus, and we all miss them, and hopefully we'll be able to resume that. We also included a link. And remember, we'll be sharing this presentation with you all through Parent Square later, so you can definitely click on it, or if want to take a picture of it now, you can. But it's a link that your children can use to look up more opportunities for community service as everything starts reopening and it's safer to engage in these activities. Okay, thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. So one of the things that we wanted to emphasize really are like the specific summer opportunities, right? So we went over a few, but in this case, we're really, really talking about either like programs that are offered at universities, or particularly like academic summer programs or internships. So just so you all know, students receive a monthly newsletter in their Alliance email that includes detailed information about opportunities that are going on that particular month. So this is a document that's prepared by the Alliance, and we share it with students. We send it to their email so that they can get that list and see all of these things. It includes specific academic programs that they can apply to, as well as scholarships. And these are like highlights of scholarships, not specifically scholarships that the Alliance is giving, but it's just a tool for students to be able to look through this information. Aside from that, because it's not an exhaustive list, okay, this is just to get students started. Students can also visit college websites in search of summer programs offered for high school students. So if your child is interested in a particular college, they go to their website and they just look to see if there's any high school programs that are offered to high school students. And many of them have them over the summer. We do want to make a note though, that there may be some programs that charge tuition. And if they do, many times they offer financial aid, but we cannot guarantee that they will, right? So there's going to be some programs that are free. There's going to be some that are not free, but may offer financial aid. And then, based on your income, you either will or will not qualify for that. So we gave you all some examples of things that appear on this newsletter. So there was a summer opportunity called Economics for Leaders. The deadline has already passed, but we wanted just to give you a sample of like what they can see on here. So it gives them a description of the program. And actually there's more information. We kind of just took a snippet of it because we needed to fit it into the slide, but it gives them that description. It gives them the requirement or the criteria, if there's any, like say, for example, it's like, oh, it's only for sophomore students or it's only for junior students. It'll give them the link so that they can go to the website to complete the application, and it gives them the deadline. The second opportunity we have listed there is still something that's going on. The deadline is June 1. So this would be something that they could apply to. This one particularly is a Young Women's Institute program at Indiana University. So you'll see that it introduces them to the college experience, particularly if they're interested in like a business career. And if they are accepted into the program, they participate in workshops with like top business faculty and alumni. Right now, because of the pandemic, many of the programs might be virtual, but let's say when everything's back to normal, many times these are programs where the student gets to be on campus. So these are all things they can find on the newsletter.
Yeah, and again, just emphasizing what Mr. Haas said, some of these programs you can request, see if they can waive certain fees or if there's a scholarship opportunity. Yes, some of the programs will look at parents' income, so it is going to be based on your income, and so that's going to be critical too, to start have that conversation with your son or daughter, because if they don't know your income, that's going to be a huge factor later on in the process as they're applying to college. So this is a good opportunity then, if you are middle class or upper middle class, okay, we need to have this conversation because we need to get you to be competitive, but also we need to bring those grades up because your GPA will be, the GPA of your student will be a huge factor later on. So the other thing that this letter or list of resources that the Alliance provides to your son or daughter is also a list of scholarships, as you can see. It does provide some opportunities and also some scholarships that your son or daughter can apply for. It's again through the same document that you see here, and it's through the Alliance email, and it's sent out usually the first week of every month. They tend to be very accurate in the first week or so of sending out this list for students. And they do it on a monthly basis if there is some scholarships available. And on this list, as you can see, they indicate if it's for high school students, middle school, or alumni, like even in college, you can apply for this. And they're very specific on who is it looking for, what's the deadline, what's the award. It's a $2,000 scholarship and a trip to Washington D.C. And then it says what they're looking for and what year. So this is for the class of 21-22. So this would have been for juniors. And so then the Odessa Marketing Group Scholarship, again, is for all high school students. It's anybody that's 16 to 25. So that means this could be for, depending on the age of your son or daughter, a sophomore all the way to a senior. And even it's a $500, those are good. Those are good awards because $500 is good for books. So if they can start slowly getting those awards, that would be good. Now, one of the things that I have heard a lot of parents and students say, I applied to so many and I get none. We understand. But here's the catch. What if you do get one? That's huge already. But you won't know until you keep on trying. But the other thing that I want to emphasize is there's no guarantee to get these scholarships. But at the same time, if your son or daughter is doing it the night before, then that's also not good because a lot of these scholarships require like essays. And so if they require essays, then the student really needs to take time to write these essays and have somebody else review it, have somebody else help them edit it. If they think they're a good writer, I bet you there's a way to still improve it even more. There's always room for improvement, but the student cannot assume that they write it 3 days ago or a week and it's the best essay they've written in their life and they can submit that. That's not the way this works. It takes time. And so we need the student to really take the time to do this. Okay?
One other thing I want to know, because sometimes parents have questions or students, is like, when do I get the money and how do I get it? And so just keep in mind that most of the scholarships are like based on the fact that the student will at some point attend college. And so many of them are not, like, the funds are not given to them when they earn the scholarship, right? So they might give them a recognition, a certificate, and it's basically on hold until you're a senior and you've confirmed that you're attending a college. And so typically, like, they want to see that you've like accepted an offer of admission, and then they release that money, right? So most of the time it's not going to be something they're going to receive that, you know, that same year, and then they're going to just put it in their bank account. It'll be something that the organization might keep until your child goes off to college. Every organization will do it differently, but I did just want to emphasize, because most of them might, especially the big scholarships, they usually want to make sure that students are enrolled in college before they release that. And going back to one point Ms. Gonzalez made about the essays, we tell students, if you really dedicate time to doing one scholarship, they'll find that most, not all, but most of the college essay topics are somewhat related. So if they have one good essay, they may be able to reuse it for multiple scholarships by just making some edits. Of course, when it's asking something very specific, that may not be the case. But if they're writing these essays, who knows, by the time they're a senior, they may be able to reuse that essay for some college topic, right? So it really is worth it. You don't always get them all, but it's great to try.
And
Did we have this? We didn't have the slide with all the links, Ms. Gonzalez?
I think it is after this one, I think. Let me see.
Just so that they have, if not, we'll add it on there.
Got it.
Just because I wanted them to have that, because there are a lot of search engines that your child can go on and create accounts on, so that they basically, they give them their profile. So this is my name, I'm in this grade, this is my GPA, these are my interests, this is my major. And then the website looks through all their scholarships and shows your child scholarships that match their profile. So instead of them looking at scholarships that they don't qualify for, it really reduces the amount that they're looking at. And it makes it very user friendly. So we have a list of different like legitimate websites that your child can look at. So we'll make sure to include it when we send out the slides, so you guys have some resources about different websites they can use.
And I think one other thing that I want to emphasize when it's scholarship is that, you know, there's scholarships that made for specific majors, for gender. So there's a wide range of scholarships that students can apply for. Are they difficult? Yes, they're very difficult to apply. And so we want to make sure that you understand that it does take time and it's a difficult notion. But there's so many different scholarships that a student can apply for. Leadership, I mean, there's different. But the other thing that I like Ms. Ceja emphasizes, the money also, each organization decides where the money is going to go to, if it's directly to the student or directly to the university. So that's another thing to consider, because if it's going directly to the university, it has to be reported to the university. If it's going to the student, the university, the scholarship might still have to tell you, you have to report it to the university. So that's additional money that the student is bringing into the university. Is it good to apply to several? Yes, and get a lot of money? Of course it is. That never hurts. But again, that's income that's considered part of the university, that the university will take into consideration as well. Any questions? You can unmute yourself if you like, if you have any questions.
Yes, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
If you could put the recommendation that Ms. Ceja said about inputting the students' information and they send us what scholarships good for them.
The links?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we will be included in the slide as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, no questions. Well, I mean, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We hope that you found this information useful. Definitely share it with your children. Like we said, a lot of this stuff they already receive in their emails. We recognize that they get so many emails that they probably miss some things. But encourage them to check in with their counselor, especially if they're thinking about doing like a community college course this summer. Really, this is the time to do it. Ms. Gonzalez said we will be offering some courses, and we'll let you guys know once we have that all squared out, which we don't right now. But they can already start looking at other community colleges. Like, we're limited to what we offer, but because we have to try to appeal to the masses. But if your child has a very particular interest, like maybe they want to take like some astronomy class, they can do it. So have them check in with us, and we'll share with them what steps they need to take to be able to enroll for those courses. And there's a form we have to complete. So really now is the time for them to start looking into that, and checking in with us. Okay.
And the key is the classes are free. Of course, the books are not, but the classes are free for the students. So you're really saving yourself like $200 on a class, and it's great for the student to take it. But also be mindful in the class, because if we're talking about a math class, sometimes that does require an exam for the student to place into a specific math level. Or if we're talking about sciences, we want a student to be very careful, because science at a college level is very difficult. It requires certain amount of class time and a lab. Like, they have to go do like experiments, or they have to do other things. And that at that time, maybe the student is not ready for that level of a class. So sciences, we tend to tell the student not to do unless they're really, really prepared for that kind of level of a class. And the books are very dense and very difficult. So just to be very careful. And this is the website that we're going to include on this, the link of the English part. These are the different websites that a student can look for scholarships. And what it is, they all tend to be very similar. The student would put their name, their interest, their GPA, what classes they've taken, any other thing, personal information, parent income, or personal information about them. And it starts generating a list based on that information.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much once again for joining us. We'll send out all the materials, if not by tomorrow, for sure early next week. So we'll include this recording and the presentation both in English and Spanish. Okay, so thank you all. If you all don't have any questions, feel free to start logging out. We'll hang out for a little bit, but thank you so much.